September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. It's a disease that if treated properly, you can live with. But as the American Cancer Society recently told me, it's also a disease that causes more deaths in Colorado and the western U.S. than other parts of the country.
Because prostate cancer is so common, but yet early detection is so important for treatment, it's kind of that double-edged sword bringing us back to, again, why screenings are so important.
So you're right. Prostate cancer is very common. There's over about 268 to 270,000 anticipated new cases this year. But unfortunately, there's 34,000 anticipated deaths. So one thing that's important to know about prostate cancer that's really different than from a lot of cancers is not that every man with a prostate cancer diagnosis needs to be treated at that time. In fact, something called active surveillance can allow men who have very indolent prostate cancer to be followed for years and maybe never need treatment. So that's why it's important to be screened earlier to, first of all, you may not need treatment, but we do know that if you delay your screening, you're more likely to present with disease that's more advanced and more likely to lead to side effects and potentially even death.
And prostate cancer itself also disproportionately affects certain groups of people. What groups are we talking about, and why is it then that much more important that people in that group get screened?
So one thing we do know is that Black men have a much greater risk of not only being diagnosed with the disease, but also dying from the disease. And in fact, it's probably overall about twofold greater risk of dying from prostate cancer if you're a Black male in this country. And we think some of that's biology, because if you look at populations living in Africa, there are very high rates of prostate cancer in African populations. But some may be the time when men are screened, because we also know that Black men are much more likely to present with more advanced disease at diagnosis. I think also interesting is that we've seen in the Western states among white males, non-Hispanic white males, as the highest prostate cancer mortality risk in the country. So a state like Colorado, for example, if you're a white male, your risk of dying for prostate cancer is about 21 to 22 per 100,000. In Washington, D.C., where we're from, if you're a white male, your risk is only about 11 per 100,000. And in both places, your risk of your Black male dying is still much worse, over 40 in both states. So screening for Black males is particularly important because of the biology and we know the outcomes. But for white males, it's also very important too.
So if you take one message away, it is go out there and get screened. Dr. William Dayhut, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Now, along with the American Cancer Society and our other partners, we've put together some resources for you. If you have questions about prostate cancer, you can find it on the Your Health Matters page of our website, denver7.com.